It's wonderful to see you all here. It's wonderful to celebrate Shabbat with you. This is our last Shabbos to enjoy some challah or a bagel, slice of pizza. Hope you did that this evening. We're going to begin our service on page 10, Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh, Avarach Haman, Mishol Kavdak, Eretz Onach, Yarutz Avdak, Kimoaya, Ishtachave, Mul Hadarach, Ki Yeralo, Yedidutach, Minofet Suv, Vechota, Higalena, Ufros Aviv Alai, Etzuka Shelomach, Ta'ir Eretz Mikvodach, Nagila Venismecha Bach, Maher Ahu Kiva Moed Vehoneni Ki Meolam. Lechuna Ranana, page 11.
Lechu niranena, lechu niranena, lechu lechu niranena, Adonai. Lechu niranena, lechu niranena, lechu lechu niranena, Adonai. Nariyan, Nariyan, Etzur Yishenu, Mikad Mafana B'toda. Nariyan, Nariyan, Etzur Yishenu, Peace me, Rodarialo, Lechu Niranena, Lechu Niranena, Lechu Lechu Niranena, Adonai. Lechu Niranena, Lechu Niranena, Lechu Lechu Niranena, Adonai.
Bottom of page 12.
Arba'im shana kut bedor, va'omaram tohe levavhem, vehem lo yedu derachai, asher nishbati ve'api, im yevon el menuchati. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai baruch shemo, bazur meyom leyom yeshuato.
We continue together, page 14, Yismechu Hashamayim.
Yismechu Hashamayim,
Yismechu Hashamayim,
Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yehiram hayam, Yehiram hayam, Yehiram hayam, Umelo. Yehiram hayam, Yehiram hayam, Yehiram hayam, Umelo. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yiram Hayam, Yiram Hayam, Yiram Hayam, Umelo, Yiram Hayam, Yiram Hayam, Yiram Hayam, Umelo.
Zamru Ladonai, page 18.
Zamru Ladonai Bekinor, Bekinor, Bekol Zimra, Bechatzos Rots, Bekol Shofar. Ari Livnei Amelech Adonai. Zamru Ladonai Bekinor, Bekinor, Bekol Zimra, Bechatzot Rot, Bekol Shofar. Ari Livnei Amelech Adonai. Yiram Hayam Ulo, Tevel veYoshveiva, Neharot Yimcha Uchav Yachad Harim Raneinu, Lifnei Adonai Kiva, Lishpot Haaretz, Yishpot Tevel Betzedek, Ve'amim B'meisharim, Yiram Hayam Ulo, Tevel veYoshveiva, Neharot Yimcha Uchav Yachad Harim Raneinu.
Page 20, Romimu.
Nai, 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 yai, nai, 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 yai, nai, 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 yai, nai, 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 yai, nai, 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 nai. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu.
If you're able to do so, please rise. Mizmor LeDavid, page 21.
Mizmor LeDavid, Havu Adonai b'nei Nim, Havu Adonai kavod va'oz, ay ay ay, Havu Adonai kevod shemo ishtachavu Adonai behalad kodesh. Kol Adonai al-Mahim el-Hakavod dirim, Adonai al-Mahim rabim. Kol Adonai b'kol koach, ay, 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 kol Adonai behadar, kol Adonai shover arazim, vayashaber Adonai, et arzei havanon, vayarkidem, kemo hegel, Levanon, Vesirion, kemo ben remim, kemo ben remim, ay, 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 kol Adonai, Hoseh lavotesh, kol Adonai, Yakil Adonai, midbar kadesh, kol Adonai, Yeholi ayalot, Vayekeso, Yeharot, Uvechalo kulo, kulo omer kavod, ay, 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 Adonai lahabu, Yahshava yeshem, Adonai melech leolam, Adonai hos, le'amo yiten, Adonai yevareg et amo v'shalom. Nai, 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 yai, nai, 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 ay, 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 nai, nai, ya, na, 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 nai, 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 na, 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 ya, na, 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 nai, 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 ya, na, 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 nai, 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 nai.
Please be seated. Anna Bekoach, page 22. Adonai, if you would, may your mighty right hand undo the knot that ties us up. Accept the prayers of your people. You who are revered, raise us up and cleanse us.
Ana bekoach, bekoach, gedulat yemincha, yemincha. Tatet serura, kaperinat amcha, sagvenu, tareinu nora. Ana bekoach, bekoach, gedulat yemincha, yemincha. Tatet serura, kaperinat amcha, sagvenu, tareinu nora. Ana bekoach, gedulat yemincha, tatet serura, tatet serura. Kaberinata mecha, sagvenu tareinu nora. Nagibor dorshe Yehudcha, kevavat shomrem, bargem tarem, rachamem sikatecha tamid. Ana bekoach, gedulat yemincha, tatet serura, tatet serura, kaberinat amecha, sagvenu tareinu nora. Nai, 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 nai. Nine, 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 nine,
We prepare to greet the Shabbos bride, Lechado D, page 23.
Nai, 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 nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Lecha dodi lirakala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi lirakala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'diborecha tishmi'anu, el hamiuchad Adonai echad, u'shemo echad l'shem rotiferet. Venitila lecha dodi lirakala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Ligrat Shabbat lekuvenecha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh b'machshavat tchila lecha dodi lirakala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech ir melucha kumetzi'iyah, מתוך חפך רב לך שבט בימך בך וכולי יחמול עלי כמלה לך דודי לקרא קלה פני שבת נקבלה הנערי מעפר קומי לבשי בגדיה תפארתך מעל יד בן ישי והלך מקרבה אל נפשי נפשי גאלה לך דודי לקרא קלה פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקרא קלה פני שבת נקבלה לא תבושי ולא תקמי מה תשתוכחי ומה תרמי בך יחסו הנעמי ונבנתה עירתי לה לך דודי לקרא קלה פני שבת נקבלה והיו לשמחה שוזייך ורקקו כל מבלייך יסיס עלייך אלוהייך כמסחוץ חתן חתן הקלה לך דודי לקרא קלה פני שבת נקבלה ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תעריצי על יד איש בן הפרסי ונשמחה ונגילה לך דודי לקרא קלה פני שבת נקבלה בואי בשלום תרבה גם בשמחה ובצולתו כמוניה עם סגולה בואי קלה
שבת מלכתה
לך דודי לקרא קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקרא קלה פני שבת נקבלה.
Please be seated. Mizmor Shir Le'Yom HaShabbat, page 27.
מזמור השיר, מזמור השיר, מזמור השיר ליום השבת. מזמור השיר, מזמור השיר, מזמור השיר ליום השבת. טוב טוב להודות לאדוני טוב טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון טוב טוב להודות לאדוני טוב טוב להודות לאדוני טוב טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון טוב, טוב להודות לאדוני, להגיד בבוקר הצדקה, להגיד בבוקר הצדקה, באמונתך בלילות, באמונתך בלילות, טוב טוב להודות לאדוני, להגיד בבוקר הצדקה, להגיד בבוקר הצדקה, באמונתך בלילות, באמונתך בלילות, טוב טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון טוב, טוב להודות לאדוני.
Page 29, Adonai Malach.
Adonai Malakehu Lavesh, Lavesh, Adonai Ozit Hazar, Aftikon, Tevel Baltimon, Aftikon, Tevel Baltimon, Nachon Kisacha Me'az, Me'olam Ata. Nasehu neharot Adonai, Nasehu neharot ulam Yiseu, neharot okyam mikolot mayim rabim, adirim mishpereyam, adir bamarom Adonai, adir bamarom Adonai, Edotecha nemnu me'od, Leveitcha navakodesh, Adonai leorech yamim, Adonai leorech yamim, mikolot mayim rabim, adirim mishpereyam, adir bamarom Adonai, adir bamarom Adonai.
If you're able to do so, please rise as we continue together. Page 39, we heed the call to worship the Baruch Hu.
Nai nai na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai nai ya da dai 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 ya da dai dai ya da dai nai nai na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai nai na na nai 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 ya da dai dai ya da dai. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Va'el Yadai. Nai nai na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai nai Yadai nai 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 Yadai na na nai 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 na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai nai Yadai nai 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 Yadai nai Yadai. Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzivahot shemo, Adonai tzivahot shemo, אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים.
Ahavat Olam, page 40.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות וחוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגן יומם ולילה באהבתך אל תסר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
V'hayim Shemot.
והים שמות.
Page 42. Vayomer Adonai Moshe lemor daber b'nei Yisrael. Lema'an tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitim kedoshim le'eloichem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etem me'eretz Mitzrayim lehiyot lechem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem emet.
We continue together on page 44. Who is like you, Adonai, mi kamocha?
Nai 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 Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, norat tehilot osei feleh, norat tehilot osei feleh. Malchutecha ra'u v'necha, bokei hayam livnei Moshe, ze Elianu ve'amru, ze Elianu ve'amru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Nai 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 nai
Hashkivenu, page 45.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom Vehamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom Vehamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim Ushmor Tzeitenu Uvoenu Lechaim Shalom Me'ata ve'ad olam Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom Vehamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom Vehamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim.
Allow us, Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us, shelter us in the shadow of your wings. For you are our God. Watch over us, deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people of Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom Vehamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom Vehamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim.
Please rise as we sanctify Shabbat together. Vishamru, page 46.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat L'dorotam Barit Olam Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat L'dorotam Barit Olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam Oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לתורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Hatzi Kaddish, page 46.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה,
אמן.
בעלמא דברה קירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה, ובזמן קריב יאמרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר וירומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקדושה וכולי מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ויאמרו אמן.
The Friday night Amidah begins on page 47. This is a silent prayer. Use the words of the Siddur to guide you or the private meditations of your own heart. For those of you still praying your Shema, your Amidah, please continue to do so. The rest of us may be seated. Shalom Rav is on page 51.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasi Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasi Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Betov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol heit ubachol sha'a bishlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
May the one who creates peace on high bring peace to us and to all Yisrael and to all who dwell on earth. Oseh Shalom, page 52.
Oh, say shalom bimrovav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru amen. Oh, say shalom bimrovav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru amen. Oh, say shalom bimrovav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru amen. Oh, say shalom bimrovav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru amen. Oh, say shalom bimrovav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru amen. Oh, say shalom bimrovav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru amen.
Kaddish Shalem, page 54.
Yekenal v'grashem me rabba ve'alma divra krute ve'emlik malkute b'chaye choni v'mechoni v'chay d'chol beit Yisrael b'agala u'vizman kari v'meru amen. Yehesh me rabba mevarach le'alam u'al me'almaya yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yirma v'yinaseh v'yithadar v'yidale v'yitalal shemeri kudesha b'richu le'in min kol brakata v'shirata tushbakata v'nechemata damiran me'alma v'imru amen. Titka b'atzla tehona v'utehona kol Yisrael kol dama v'hona v'shemaya v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chaim alina ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Well, I've been watching TV, I've been looking at some advertisements. Whether we wanted one or not, we are getting a new Dracula movie. And this time, I'm really not sure why, Nicolas Cage is playing the notorious vampire from Transylvania. I don't know if I'll be brave enough to watch the new film. It's called Renfield. This is the name of Dracula's assistant around whom the film is based. But the movie has certainly started several conversations with friends and colleagues. The first of which, why has the vampire, as a literary character, stood the test of time for so long? And not just in the UK, where Bram Stoker wrote the infamous novel Dracula, but essentially in every functioning literary culture so far in human history. You can look, and they have a villainous story about monsters who drink blood. This is everywhere. If I'm being honest, this question about the literary character of the vampire could be a semester-long class. We could delve into vampiric stories, literally from Asia, from Europe, even Africa. But today, I want to focus on the Jewish aspect of vampire lore because I believe, like everything else Jewish, it has its roots in Torah. I'm getting some glances, so if you don't believe me, let's begin with a verse from this week's Parsha. This is from Tzav. We'll read it tomorrow. Vayikra chapter 7, this is verse 26. God tells us, quote, "You must not consume any blood, either of a bird or an animal, in any of your settlements. Anyone who consumes blood shall be cut off from their kin." It's from our Parsha. Now, anybody who is familiar with Sefer Vayikra from the book of Leviticus knows that this type of rhetoric is actually pretty common in a book filled with descriptions of sacrifices. As a side note, most of our 613 mitzvot, the commandments, come from this book, from Leviticus. And many of the mitzvot, have to do with the sacrificial system. Now, it's important to note, this is not the only time the Torah forbids us from consuming blood. We actually get the same sentiment later in the book of Devarim and Deuteronomy. It says, this is God talking, quote, "Be sure you do not eat the blood, because the blood is the life. You must not eat it with the meat. You must not eat the blood. Pour it out on the ground like water. Do not eat it, so that it may go well with you and your children after you, because you will be doing what is right in the eyes of Adonai." So please note that while there was not an explicit reason in Leviticus not to consume blood, in Deuteronomy, what I just read you, we're told, quote, "The blood is the life." That makes sense, because if you have a sacrificial system that revolves around blood sacrifices, it's only obvious that blood would be considered sacred. Now, I know sermons like this about blood, about sacrifices, they're kind of off-putting to the layman, but it's essential to fully understand our Torah, to understand the phenomenal pivot that the Torah advocates for, and that's getting rid of human sacrifices. In the ancient world, historically, we know most religions were obsessed with sacrificing human beings, whether this is sacrificing virgins or criminals or even just the average Joe. Many cultures and societies in antiquity regularly practiced human sacrifice, regularly participated in it. By the way, the rabbis think the reason that Leviticus prohibits consuming blood is because it's similar to the way in which people worshipped Moloch, either by sacrificing children or consuming blood. Because the Torah and subsequent Jewish writings forbid human sacrifice in a time where it was wholly prominent, the rest of the world becomes captivated by it. And there is no other more noticeable time of the year right now where Easter is looming over every grocery store aisle and every church is proudly displaying the symbol of the crucifix everywhere, which is literally an embodiment of human sacrifice in the ancient world. While we are forbidden to drink or consume blood, Christians this time of year, that's what the holiday is all about. The Gospels speak of a Last Supper where their Messiah commands them to drink wine, which he then declared is his blood. So ceremonially on Easter Sunday in churches all over America, Catholic churches maintain that if their priest says a few Latin words over the wine, that the wine is literally, not metaphorically, literally, according to Catholicism, it's transformed into blood. It's not a symbolic act at all. If you're not aware of this, hear it now, friends. Initially, the Catholic Church was obsessed with blood and blood sacrifices. Perhaps this is the reason that while Jews are being kicked out all over parts of Europe in the 1400s, leaders of the Catholic Church proclaimed that Jews were participating in what they called blood libel. They created stories, chaotic stories, in which they accused Jewish communities of using Christian blood to bake in their Passover matzah. Now, I don't know about you, but when I went to Smith's the other day, they were out of Christian blood matzah. I'll try Albertsons after Shabbat. Keep in mind, in 1472, this is a true story, there was a young Italian boy named Simon of Trent, little kid in Italy. He goes missing, and of course, the local Italian community blames the Jews. And they blame the entire Jewish community, both men and women. All of the Jews in this town are arrested and forced under torture to confess to having murdered this young child for his blood to make into matzah. And if that's not bad enough, this kid, Simon, he becomes a venerated Catholic saint. His feast day is still recognized by the church in 2023. Now, this is the part of the sermon where I think it gets really interesting, because around the same time that Jews are being accused of blood libel all over Europe, in Germany, the Jewish community is writing a book about religious piety, which later will be called Sefer Hasidim, or the Book of the Righteous Ones. This book describes daily religious life in Germany, but it also describes fantastical accounts of various Jewish monsters. You might recognize the Dybbuk or the Golem, but also they have what are called estries, female vampires, portrayed as beautiful, bloodthirsty demons that oftentimes prey on children or babies. In this book, created by Jews, these vampires are created at sunset before the first Sabbath before creation. As a result, they are able to change form and fly. Perhaps it's our own fascination with these monsters and creatures that will lead Bram Stoker, the author of Dracula, to write his novel in 1897 and have the antagonist portrayed strikingly similar to an observant Jew, complete with a, quote, beaky nose, a black mustache, and pointed beard. That's how Dracula is described in his novel. Now, I understand how easy it is to tune out of a sermon about vampires. After all, Rabbi, this is a shul, this is quite a stretch, but I think this issue is really worth paying attention to. After all, while Dracula was written 125 years ago now, it wasn't too long ago that it was recently made into a film by Universal Pictures, where Bela Lugosi plays the villainous count and wears what looks like a Star of David necklace around his neck. Even more surprisingly or unsurprisingly, just a couple months ago, CNN published a cartoon that depicted a Jewish Passover dinner with a thought bubble that read in Hebrew, "We are a free people," as the room they're dining in appeared to be surrounded by a sea of blood. So what do I want you to do with all of this information? Well, first, I want you to know about it. Sometimes we don't talk about these things, and people who don't know history are often doomed to repeat it. But tonight, or later this week, I should say, on Wednesday nights, when you are surrounded by loved ones and friends at your Seder, celebrating the freedom of our Jewish people, I want you to think about the fact that while we are free, this doesn't mean we can throw caution to the wind. Because there are others that, if they could, would enslave us again in a heartbeat. Because even though we are forbidden from consuming blood, it seems as if our enemies want to shove it down our throats. Even though we pray for peace, it seems as if we're always being accused of having blood on our hands. We're made out to be monsters, and not the romantic ones that you see on the silver screen, but rather they make us out to be the kind that prey on the innocent. This year, dear friends, perhaps we have the chance to change that narrative. There will always be stories that revolve around evil and violence, but my hope for us this Passover is to tell new stories that focus on love and freedom. Shabbat Shalom. In Jewish folklore, there are certainly many stories about all sorts of critters, whether they be monsters, whether they be demons, but also the rabbis suggest that any home that observes Shabbat on Friday night will receive visiting angels from heaven that will swoop down and greet us with all sort of Shabbat blessings. So in that vein, if you're able to do so, please rise as we sing Shalom Aleichem, page 73.
Shalom Aleichem, Malkei Hasharet, Malkei Elyon, Mi Melech Malkei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malkei Hashalom, Malkei Elyon, Mi Melech Malkei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malakei HaShalom, Malakei Elyon. Mi Melech Malakei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malakei HaShalom, Malakei Elyon. Mi Melech Malakei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
If we have any children that want to come up as we do Kiddush, which is on page 76, come on up.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei puri hagafein. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinkilanu zikaron lema'aseh Bereshit ki hu yom tehila lamikrahei kodesh Zecher letziat Mitzrayim, Kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן. לחיים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המוציא לחם מן הארץ. אמן.
That's a big one too. There we go. Savor it now, kids, because soon. Because soon.
You're welcome.
We remain standing. Aleinu is on page 56.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כיי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המעונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שנוטה שמיים ועושה הארץ. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני מלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Please be seated. Simple Beth Sholom is acknowledging the yortzites of Marvin Agron, Walter Herman Alder, Merlin Russell Baki, Mark Belfer, Stella Benveniste, Carol Berg, Barnett Shaken, Sherwin Cherry, Philip DeVore, Rachel Friedman, Alan Garber, Sarah Gilbert, Mark Allen Gilbert, Roy Gould, Bernard Green, Ruth Gray, Louis Hart, Haley Hulnick, Walter Jacobs, William Benjamin Jager, Norma Lee Johnson, Bernard Kanarek, Anna Katz, Rose Kaufman, Carl Lieb, Francis Lipkin, Murray Metzenbaum, Samuel Moses, Anna Moskowitz, Alex Passon, Jory Kyle Prum, Robin Resnick, Helen Rosenberg, Arlene Rubenstein, William Sinkoff, Anna Sitzer, Clara Starr, Henry Steinberg, Joyce Elise Strauss, Lisa Weiss, and Evelyn R. Zach. Mourners and those observing a yortzeit have an opportunity to say the Mourner's Kaddish, which can be found on page 58. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divara kirute v'yamlik malkute, Bechayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dekol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, Yit Barak ve'yish tabak ve'it pa'ar ve'it ramam ve'it naseh, ve'yit hadar ve'yit aleh ve'yit halal shemei dekudesha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata ve'shirata, tushbechata ve'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma ve'imru, Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya, V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, huya aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Please be seated. We now have an opportunity to hear some simple announcements from one of our board of directors, Larry Dorff.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi Hodson, DJ, for another wonderful Friday night. Please join us tomorrow at 9 a.m. for Shabbat morning services. Join us during the week for morning minyan, which begins at 9 a.m. on Sunday, 7:30 a.m. Monday through Friday, and Monday through Friday we serve a full breakfast. This Sunday at 10 a.m. in the small social hall, the TBS Men's Club's monthly breakfast presents special speaker Eddie Lunger, Director of Building Operations for the MSG Sphere. Also this Sunday at 12 p.m., join Boker Tov Sunday for Passover wine and cheese tasting. This is a lot of fun. A big thank you to Kosher Chinglish for donating the wine. Free for members and a small fee for non-members. RSVP to Hillel Ofek. TBS USY, just in time for Pesach food drive to benefit JFSA, is ongoing. Please drop off donations in the temple lobby or with security. USY Kadima has their Shabbat dinner on April 7th. Kadima Movie Night featuring Prince of Egypt is on Saturday, April 8th at 8 p.m. And USY at the Ballpark is on Sunday, April 9th. RSVPs are due by April 5th to DJ Sinai. TBS Women's League will hold Circle of Prayer in the Steinberg Chapel on Tuesday, April 11th at 10 a.m. and Sunday, April 16th at 10 a.m. We'll hold their annual elections and along with a special presentation on Feng Shui. Sunday, April 16th at 4 p.m. will be the Yom HaShoah commemoration. There will also be a screening of And You Chose Life, a documentary about the partisan Sharaga Dagny and Jewish heroism during the Holocaust. Following the screening, the commemoration will continue in the Sigismund Sanctuary. The event is open to the community. Additional details for all these events can be found in your Shabbat handout and weekly TBS email. Following services, please join us for Oneg in the large social hall. If you know a member, temple member who's in the hospital, ill, or home, or in a nursing home, please contact the temple office. And if you have not made your reservations for the first Seder, I think we have 11 slots still open if you'd like to join us. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you to everyone who's donated thus far to our food drive. Monday, it's going to JFSA, so anything that you can drop off between now and Monday would be fantastic. Again, the food bank there, the shelves are kind of bare, and they rely on donations from us to fill those food banks. So please, if you're able to, before Monday, please bring a healthy donation to the temple lobby there, and we'll drop it off at JFSA on Monday afternoon.
If you're anything like me, every year around this time, you start complaining about all the cleaning and all the prep that you have to do for Passover, who has to come over, whose crazy uncle is going to come over and drink too many cups of wine, all of that, complaining, kvetching, and then when you get to the Seder and you're with your loved ones, it's beautiful and lovely, and so I'm anticipating that feeling too. I just koshered the meat kitchen the other day. It took me all morning. I'm going to do the dairy one next week. Passover is coming. We're going to cross from slavery into freedom, and we're going to be together, and it's going to be beautiful. So enjoy. Make sure you're getting a lot of your chametz in because, folks, it's coming. It's coming. I saw a toilet cover that was matzah color that said, "Let thy people go." And,
Nice, right.
Okay, Adon Olam, page 211.
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol Yisir Nivra, Ein Asa V'Sol kol Azai Melech Shemo Nigra, V'Acharei Gilot HaKol, Levado Hilok Nora, V'Hu Haya, V'Hu Hove, V'Hu Yeh B'Tzifara, V'Hu Echad, V'Sheni Lecham Shelo Le'Avira, V'Li Reshit, V'Li Taklit, V'Lo Ha'oz, V'Hamizra, V'Hu Eli, V'Chai Gohali, V'Tzur Hevli, V'Eitzara, V'Hu Nisi, Umanos Li, Menakosi, B'Yom Egra, Be'ado, Avki Ruhi, V'Eiti Shan, Ve'Aira, Ve'im Ruhi, Giviati Adonai li below ira na 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 na
We say a blessing together, Yevarechecha.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'ishmerecha Yahir Adonai Panav elecha v'kunecha Yisa Adonai Panav elecha v'yaselecha Shalom.
Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarek et amo v'shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Odevo shalom aleinu. Odevo shalom aleinu. Odevo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Odevo shalom aleinu. Odevo shalom aleinu. Odevo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Odevo shalom aleinu. Odevo shalom aleinu. Odevo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Odevo shalom aleinu. Odevo shalom aleinu. Odevo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam.